Alright, the EOC test is going to be this Tuesday, so it's going to be a quick review for the linear equations that are going to be on there. First thing I want to talk about is y equals mx plus b. If you have an equation that has y equals 3x plus 2, this is a linear equation. This number here has a special purpose, and it's a special name. It's called the slope. The way you can tell it's a slope because it's next to the letter x. It's also called the rate of change. The second number on the side is also special, and this number right here is called the y-intercept. Now this is very important because in this test, this is a very important concept to remember. That the one next to the x and the one by itself has special names. Now sometimes, just to be a little tricky, they'll switch them around, but that doesn't change the fact that the number next to the x is called the slope, and the number by itself is called the y-intercept. And just one more kind of trick that they use is they'll change the letters. And you can pretty much tell that this is the y equal to, and this is the x. So if they change the letters, change them back. Okay? This is still the slope, this is still the y-intercept. Now the word rate of change was used a lot of times during the last test, so it's very important to remember that word right there. Now, the y equal to equation is very important because once you graph it in the calculator, and you press the y equal to button right there, then you're going to be able to see two different things. You'll be able to see the graph, and you'll be able to see the table. And using the graph and the table, you're going to be able to find special numbers that you're looking for. In the graph, you can locate the y-intercept because it's on the y-axis. You can locate the x-intercept, which is on the x-axis. If it's right on the notch, that's great. If it's not, you can approximate. As for the table, you have all these points right here. Now, also talking about the linear equations, sometimes they'll have them written down something like this. Now, this is not something that we can find the slope, or we can't find the y-intercept, and we can't even graph it because it doesn't say y equals mx plus b. So whenever you have an equation like this, the main thing is to go ahead and solve it to make it say y equal to, and then you can locate these things, and then you can plug in the calculator. So every time you see a 2x plus a y equals anything, make sure that you get rid of the x, move it over here, because that's where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be on this side. So opposite side, opposite sign. So you locate the sign. This is positive 2x, so you use the opposite sign to move it over to the other side. Now once you do that, these cross out, 7y drops, and you have negative 2x, I like to put it first, plus 14. And now whatever number is here, just divide it, because it's multiplying, and the opposite multiplication is division. And now we have it saying, when these cross out, y equals negative 2 over 7x plus 2. This is your slope, this is your y-intercept. The last thing I want you to think about whenever you're doing these linear equations is the two buttons in the calculator that's going to really be helpful. The two buttons in the calculator is going to be helpful. Most likely in every question on this test, you're going to be able to ask yourself, do I use y equal to? Or do I use stat? Okay? Y equal to, you can graph it, you can see a graph, you can see a table. Stat we haven't talked about yet. Stat is whenever you have a graph, a table, or a set of points. Whenever you have a graph, a table, a set of points, what you end up doing is you end up having to find the slope of the y-intercept or anything of the sort. And once you do that, you use the stat button. If you have a graph, take 2 points out. Put them in a table. If you have a table, you already got the table. If you have points, put them in the table. Then you can press stat enter. And then the calculator, you can stick them in the calculator. And then you can go stat, calculate, linear regression, number 4. And if you press all the way to calculate, it will give you the slope and the y-intercept. So y equals ax plus b. A is 2. B is 1. So y equals 2x plus 1. Here's your slope, here's your y-intercept, and now you can plug in the calculator. This is a very important skill to know, and you have to be able to get both of them. Now, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to go to the comment section, right under the description section, right under the video, and there's going to be a link to the 2016 test, and I'd like you to do all these problems right here. All these problems right here deal with the linear portion of the test. And after you do them, or as you go one at a time, come back to this video, and I'll be working out every single one of those at that time. Okay? So please pause the video, do your work, then come check it with the rest of the video. Alright, first linear question is question number 1 in the 2016 test. And it says the savings account balance can be modeled by this graph. What is the rate of change? Again, remember the rate of change is always going to be the slope. And again, I've already told you, in this test, you're either going to use y equal to or stat. Well, right here, we can't use y equal to. They didn't give us an equation, so we're going to use stat. In order to use stat, I already got points here. I could just type them up on top of him, or press second plus sign 712. Alright, here's my first point, 050. Here's my second point, 150. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put those 2 points inside the calculator in stat. Stat to the right, 4. Enter, 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 enter. And as you can tell, the number next to the x is your slope. That's 100. Second question on the test is question number 5. Again, question number 5 has a table. So again, you ask yourself, which button on the calculator do I use? In this case, I'll use the stat again, because I have points. Alright, I only need 2 of them. The x is negative 7.5 and negative 3.5. Now the y is 12 and 0. Again, I go stat to the right for a bunch of enters. In this case, again, they're asking for the equation, which is y equals a is negative 3, x plus b is negative 10.5. And that would be a. Next questions on the linear portion of it is question number 11. I'm going to go ahead and do that one as well. Question number 11 says f of x equals to x. Again, f of x just means y. So y equals to x. So I go to my calculator. This one doesn't use stat. It uses y equal to. Alright, y equals to x is graphed in the coordinate plane. Now there's a new graph, which means I have to graph a second one. In this graph, you change the slope to 2/3. Remember, the slope is the number right there in front of x. You make that 2/3. And the y-intercept is 4. The y-intercept is by itself. You make that over here. Now you graph it. Here's the original one. Here's the new one. Okay, the new one is higher. It's above. So this says translated down. This says up. This says up. This says down. And if you're coming down here on roller skates, you go pretty fast. It's steeper. If you come down here on roller skates, it's less steep. So the new line is less steep. Next question is question number 14. Number 14, they ask for the y-intercept. Here's the y-axis. Here's where it crosses. I say it's about 5.5, but I can't be sure. Since I can't be sure, I'm going to remember that the number right here is always the y-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and use stat. Again, I couldn't use y equal to because they didn't give me an equation. So I'm just going to go to stat enter. They've already given me 2 points. Negative 2 has a 7 in front of it. And 6 has a 1 in front of it. Now I go stat to the right for enter, 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 enter. This is the y-intercept, 5.5. This was not multiple choice. So this is why I didn't approximate it from the picture. Next question is question number 18. Which of the following is equivalent? Now, we already told you if you see anything that looks like this, we have to make it say y equal to, because if it says y equal to, then I can put it in the calculator. So, I'm going to keep the y, because I want it to say y equal to, which means I need to remove the 3x. Opposite sign, and you bring it over here to the opposite side. So this is positive. The opposite sign of a positive 3x is a negative 3x. I'll rewrite it. This is left over here. And here I have a negative 3x and a positive 6. Now, whatever number is left over right here, we have to divide it or multiply it. It's already multiplying, so I'll divide by that negative 4. These cross out. There's my y equals. These cross out. 3 over 4x. And 6 divided by negative 4. I'll go to my calculator. I'll go 6 divided by negative 4. And then I change it to a fraction. Math, enter, enter. Negative 3 over 2. Answer is J. Next question is question number 19. And in number 19, they ask you for the rate of change. Now remember, the rate of change just means slope. And again, I have a table. So again, I'm going to use stat. The numbers here are -2, 0, and over here we have 12 and 3. I like to use just 2 numbers, but if you want to use all of them, you may. And again, this is your slope. Now, first of all, it's negative, and it's -4.5. So I just type out -4.5, math, enter, enter, and there's my answer. Be careful, they all look alike. Next question is question number 23. Question number 3, they ask you which one represents that line. Again, all you have to do is notice that this right here is not in the proper format. And we're going to go ahead and change it because I can't graph anything until I have it in y equals. So, opposite side, I need it here on this opposite side, so I'm going to use the opposite sign. -3x, the opposite sign would be positive 3x. These cross out. 5y equals, I'll put this one first, 3x minus 15, and then I divide by 5. Which is y equals 3 over 5x minus 3. Now, I go to my calculator. That's a y equals. So again, I go to the y equals portion of the calculator and just plug it in there. And I graph it. Now notice my screen doesn't look anything like these screens. They're different numbers. But I can now tell the x-intercepts at -3. So these two are off. And the y-intercept, I'm sorry, the y-intercept's at -3 and the x-intercept's at +5. Next question is question number 26. Question number 26, they ask you for months 1 through 9. So I'm not looking in these dots right here. Just month 1 through 9. And they ask me to draw a line, because these are all linear equations, that will model the data. So a line that will include all these data points in it will look like this. Right? So all I got to do is go ahead and find those dots. So I'll draw that line. Once I draw that line, I kind of see that these 2 points right here, they're pretty close to being on the line. Okay? And I also can look and see that the y-intercept is really close to 89. Now the only y-intercept that's really close to 89 are these two. 85 is down here, 90 is right here. 90 is way closer. So I'm just going to pick H. Next question is question number 27. It says f of x equals to 6, 1 minus x. Remember, f of x equals is just y equals. So I have a y equals 6, 1 minus x. So I go to my calculator. Again, I go to y equals, and I put that in there. Now, once I put that in there, I go ahead and look at the table, and we're looking for numbers. Now, they're asking for f of -8. Now, if you notice, if you draw a little table right there, the -8 is under the x portion. There it is. The answer next to it is 54. Next one will be question number 30. Question number 30, they wrote down an equation, but this equation is using different letters. So we're going to change them back. That's a y, that's an x. Alright, and now we can go to the tables. And they're asking us, what is the domain? Again, domain would be the x portion of it, okay? Alright, here we go. Now for the x portion is right here. And they say something special about the x portion. You have to use at least 8 players, but not more than 12 players. So the x part, from 8 to around 12, is 8 to around 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Make sense? Next question will be number 35. An organization has a monthly budget of X dollars. So X is the total budget. So they start off with X. Alright? And then they spend 2070. That means you minus from that X from the total 2070. Now if you look up here, there's the only one that says that. Now 1/4 of the remaining budget spent on monthly activities. That's why they're dividing by 4. All the other ones they're trying to get you to think about. But if you start with that and you take away that, then they should be minus from each other. That's the only one that has that. Next question is 36. Said which one's a function? Function means the x does not repeat. It's repeating here. It's not repeating here. It repeats here, and it repeats here. Answer is G. Next question is number 38. They're looking for the rate of change, and again, to find the rate of change, you got to find 2 points and use stat. And if you just locate the points that are right at the corner, that way you know what they are. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And this one right here is 21, 22, 23, 24. So the first point is 30, 24. Second point is 45, 50, 55. 25, 26. And you go stat to the right 4, enter, 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 and it's 0.08. So I need to change that into a fraction, and it's 2 over 25. Now I'm looking over here, and I don't really see that. I see 7 over 100. That looks really close to 0.08. 1 over 12. That's also pretty close to that. Now we also have 12, which is obviously not it, and 22 is not it. So we're going to have to go ahead and figure out which one is it. Is it 7 over 100 or 1 over 12? So in order to do that, we go see if 1 over 12 would work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they're going by different numbers. Actually, to tell you the truth on this one, I'm going to pick G. Okay? The points that I picked weren't exactly on the center. If you pick a better point, like this one right here, you realize that's actually the right answer. Alright. Number 43 is next. An x-intercept. If it says x-intercept, that means it crosses the x-axis. So it has to cross here, the x-axis, at -5. Answer is A. Alright, student rode a bike to school for recreation center. The graph shows the student's miles. Okay, here we go. What is the range? Again, the word range. When you grow up, I want to be a doctor. Domain is X, range is Y. This is X, this is Y. So they're asking for the range. And the range right here starts off at 0 and ends at 9. So it's either all real numbers greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 9. Starts off at 0, ends at 9. Or all numbers less than 9. Now, all numbers less than or equal to 9 will also include negative numbers, because that's already less than 9, right? But here we don't go to negative numbers, so we're not going to use this one. We're only going to pick this one right here. Alright, 2 more. 46, it says which equation in standard form has this point and this slope. And again, this is really easy. All you have to do is solve and figure it out. Now we have 9x minus 2y equals to 36. But now, just to save time, we're going to try this one first. 9x minus 2y equals to -40. So opposite side, opposite sign. This is positive. The opposite sign will be negative. Now I have -2y equals, this goes first, -9x minus 40. And divide everybody by that -2. These cross out. So I have y is 9 over 2x plus 20. Now, that solves the slope is 9 over 2. Now, to see if they have this point, I'm going to go to y equals 9 over 2x plus 20. And if I just look at the table and go all the way down here to -4, if there's a 2 in front of it, then that works out. And there is. The answer there will be H. Last one, question number 51. They're asking for the slope, and they give us the points. So again, that will have to be stat. (26) goes with 7, and -39 goes with 12. And you go stat to the right 4, enter, 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 enter. And the slope here is negative 0.0769230769. Now I want to make that into a fraction, so I'll just type it up. And go math, enter, enter. Now that didn't work out, so I'm going to check this one. Negative 1/3. Nope, I'm sorry. Negative 1/13. Wow, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty simple to it, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that's the right answer. Now we know it's not these because these are positive, and we know it's not 13. Alright guys, good luck on the test. This is the first part. Now we're going to do 2 more parts. One on quadratics, and the third one will be on inequalities and systems together. So I hope this helped.